Good evening, everybody. Roll call, please.
Commissioner Bozak,
Here.
Commissioner Ensland,
Here.
Commissioner Loving,
Here.
Commissioner McCarr,
Here.
Commissioner Copeland,
Here.
and we do have a new Dune school, but he's obviously not here. I think it's Kirk Redmond.
Do we have paperwork on that or something?
Jane sent an email.
Okay.
Okay. Approval of minutes from July 12th, 2023.
Oh.
Second. Discussion, roll call please.
Commissioner Copeland,
Yes.
Commissioner Ensland, Commissioner Loving,
Yes.
Commissioner McCarr,
Yes.
Commissioner Bozak.
Yes. All right, any reports from the commissioners? No. Thank you. Man. I'm pretty boring. All right, Jason, here, Clay. Do you have anything? Do we have any engineers on that have anything? Thank you.
No.
No. Tina always has something.
Good evening, commissioners. Hello, everyone. Just want to provide an update. You do have a more detailed monthly report, but to highlight, I just want to highlight the next level trails application was submitted to the Indiana Department of Natural Resources for the phase 1B Marquette Greenway trail project. This was in conjunction with the town of Porter. And again, town of Porter submitted their own separate grant, but we identified each other as collaborators. The state has emailed an update just to say how many responses they have, and I want to highlight that within the regional category, there are 16 projects that are identified on the state visionary trail, and our projects being one of those. So it's going to be a very competitive process this year, but we look forward to a positive response, and we should be notified in September. Selection for that grant. I'll keep you posted if additional communication come through.
Okay.
The second grant that was submitted in Shirley Hines Land Trust was the lead applicant was to the Chi-Cal fund, and again that project the redevelopment commission committed $5,000 to support a local match at the kayak launch and enhancements at the dam. And then the third update this evening is just to report that the Marquette Greenway, the recreational trails program, the two bookends. We did a final walkthrough with Ava Marsh and Reed Riley earlier this week. There is a short punch list of items that Ava Marsh identified, and Reed Riley and their crew will be out over the next couple week or so to address the punch list. So you may see some vehicles on Stanley Street or some equipment on Stanley Street, and that would just be to finish up some of the punch list items. And that would conclude my report this evening.
Thank you, Tina.
You're welcome.
And we don't have a Dune school board. Do we have any correspondence? All right, old business. Marquette Greenway update. We're gonna table the authorization to bid at this time. We're still working through some paperwork, so we'll get back to that next month. Next, the next level trails local match update authorization phase 1A contracting. This was the email that was sent out, the increase of our percentage. So we are looking to make official action on that in this meeting. Anybody has any questions about that? Or anything?
Can you just go over PM difference again?
Yeah, so the final project total was 7.5 million. We adjusted our request to a flat 5 million from the department, from the state in the grant request, and so that left a balance of 2.53 for the town. When I approached you last month, we were asking for an amount just below the 5 million threshold, so it increased, I think, just under 200,000 for that. You give me a second, I can pull up the exact numbers, but essentially it was to make it an even ask from the state. And again, this was verbally approved, and we're just following it up with the formal action today.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Second.
Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Commissioner Toggle,
Yes.
Commissioner Loving,
Yes.
Commissioner McCarty,
Yes.
Commissioner Ensland,
Yes.
Commissioner Bozak.
Yes. All right, new business. Oh,
I have a question on the Marquette Greenway, and specifically on. You know, we now have decided that we're going under. The Norfolk Southern Little Cal Bridge rather than building our own bridge. Norfolk Southern has waffled on this over 5-10 years, all right, you know, first they told us to go scratch, you can't go under our bridge, all right? That's why we rerouted the trail at some expense. And we finally nailed them down in an email giving us permission to build a bridge over their tracks, all right? Or saying that they were for that, all right? But now we're going back under the bridge, their bridge. And so we only got two choices. I mean, but I'm not questioning the wisdom of that. I'm questioning, do we have something in writing from Norfolk Southern that says, yes, you can do that? Because I'm not going to commit a whole bunch of money if they're going to suddenly play prima donna again, and say, oh, no, you can't do this, on our bridge. We didn't.
Yes, so we do have a letter from Norfolk Southern supporting the project. And that letter does allow, I would say, for either option. The engineering preference is under the bridge. The caveat to this is that the design is not final. We only have 60% design plans to date. So there is also, basically to move forward with the project, there is some additional environmental work that needs to be done and that will help shape the project design, and then the additional design engineering to take it from 60 to 100%. I would just say, Brad, to your point, we have a letter of support for moving forward and using the bridge option. But we still have to go through the environmental and design engineering work that will really, affirm and guide the process.
Who actually owns the property?
Of the bridge,
Well, I guess the bridge and then so is it the railroad owns underneath it and then just adjacent to it, is it the national park?
I would have to review it, but I'm gonna say the land is national park. The river is state of Indiana, and then you have the bridge structure, which is gonna be Norfolk Southern.
I just didn't know if we're using the land underneath, do we need to get easement agreements and from who? Is what?
There will be a level of coordination with the railroad, and also with NIPSCO on that project. NIPSCO not at this particular location. We're essentially building the trail around the bridge. So part of it's going to be just a supported structure around the water and the bridge.
Okay.
I'm not an engineer.
No, I was just trying to ease Brad's concerns, you
Yeah.
know, we have a letter, that's great. We feel more comfortable if we had easement agreements.
Yeah, that'll be
Like, so
part
I
of.
understand why we don't at this time.
Yeah, so the best paperwork we can have at this time is a letter of support, which is something we did not have in our initial attempt with this project. And it was something that one of the commissioners said, we will not, let's not repeat that. So we did not repeat that. So we have a letter to move forward, but there is time built into the grant for railroad coordination so that we can secure these agreements and then also complete the environmental and design engineering work that will shape what is actually constructed. So, but thank you, Brad, for bringing up the importance of having Norfolk Southern support to move forward with the project, and your concerns about, you know, our investments and not losing that kind of investment to get down the road and be told no again.
Well, thank you for answering my question.
And I just want to also acknowledge that the Indiana Dunes National Park Service has established a working partnership with Norfolk Southern, and because this is one bridge of several that the national park needs to address in completion of the Marquette Greenway through federal land. So we have that partnership in place as well, that we are advocating, you know, in part with the National Park Service on the importance of this ability to Norfolk Southern.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, new business. Burns Harbor Police Department Water Rescue Equipment. Mr. Jeremy.
Sorry, I don't have a bunch of confusing details like Tina does for what I'm looking for here.
You say. Orange, red.
So simply put it, Assistant Chief Lucas brought up the fact that like as we keep now expanding what we're doing, now we have kayaks coming through our riverways. Well, coupled with all the other bodies of water that we have in our jurisdiction, that we have absolutely zero water rescue equipment in our patrol vehicles. I guess it's never been brought up in the 10 or 11 years I was here, but I think that might be just maybe overconfidence on my own part about not needing life vests, but yeah. So life vests were one of the things that we identified, and the other item would be a throw bag. Which would allow us to go retrieve from the shoreline, which if we get anywhere near that dam, I know like vest is only gonna help so much because then I gotta rescue 2 people. So I guess I'm just kind of looking for direction. I understand you guys have a lot of things going on, but this was my first stop. So there are 2 options that we identified. One of them was but we got was right at $119, and the other one was $1,759. That was shipped to the door. That's the bus and the throwbacks to help fit every one of our patrol cars.
What's the difference between the two vests?
Just the quality and the fitment. I mean, I would love the nicer one, but at the same time, I recognize that it's not a daily occurrence that we'd be wearing it. And a little bit of discomfort could probably be dealt with in this situation. That's.
I think the least of your worries.
Yeah, there has something to nothing.
Yeah.
But I also understand that, I mean, it's August. That if you guys got a lot going on, I mean, there's
Yeah. And you feel that getting all size large,
I think they just put it
are
in the
we
cart.
just?
They just put it in the cart that way. We checked and all the sizes were the same price.
Okay.
So really it's gonna come down to getting some measurements and making sure that we can do something like. There'd probably be maybe one larger one smaller one, and then the rest that would universally fit the majority of those. So we'd have to look at that.
I see you have 8 down, that's 1 per squad car.
Correct, I have 8 patrol vehicles, I wouldn't wanna. Have a car down. And then the one time I need it, I don't.
I was gonna say, what about the bikes? Because they're likely to be,
So I think we have to deploy it from the cars though, because I don't know, I don't know how we'd be able to keep any of this gear on the bikes with them. The capacity I just think wouldn't be there. I think if we knew we were going, you'd have a patrol vehicle. You wouldn't necessarily be responding from the bike, you might be responding with the bike, but we could grab the gear from any patrol vehicle we had available.
This may seem like a silly question, but does the fire department have any of this type of equipment too?
I was just gonna ask that too.
Do they have a need?
I mean, they used to have a dive team, I assume they have. Some type of equipment, I'm not. Pretty to what they have, I mean, I'm sure that they have stuff, I mean, they had a full, at one point in time. A full dive rescue trailer and everything else, and they did a lot of training that way, and I think they still train at the park.
What do you guys think? Anyone else have any questions? How small is the bag, like the throw bag, like? You couldn't have one of those in a pouch in the bike, because I don't know if there's.
It would probably fit in a pouch and bike, but that would probably put its entire capacity. Like, you probably wouldn't be able to carry a first aid kit and like that.
Because, Brad brings up a great,
Yeah.
back there on the bike, and now you have to wait for somebody or go get the vehicle.
Right, I'm trying to think where we would be. Like, I mean, we're talking about. Deploying from the cars. I guess unless somebody was just out on the bike, I think that would be the only scenario where it'd be an issue. Because other than that. Like if it was our lake or Lake Michigan, we're gonna be deploying from a car each of that time.
Okay.
And if we had to go to the trail, I would assume that we're probably driving here to leave on a bike. And we could take any, I mean, if it was a water rescue thing, it'd be like, okay, let me grab the water rescue stuff.
Okay.
I think once we have the bags, we can determine whether or not we can fit them there, but I honestly don't think that it'd be. I think I pretty much put it at capacity, it's like 100 foot for each. So, I mean, which would give us. I mean, that'd be awesome, talking about the lake and other things to go to reach people from the shore that
Yeah,
otherwise right now we just gotta be in the water.
Do they wear like a backpack or anything?
Who's that?
When they use the bike?
No,
Okay.
we're pretty much like this, maybe in shorts, but I mean, that's not whether duty gear, there's just how.
It's just, yeah.
I mean, I think that as a trail expands, it might be something to consider, depending on. How far you're venturing outside of the town of Harbor. Because I rode it across 249 recently and yeah, you get a certain distance away and having your stuff would be nice, that aspect.
well. I mean, I like this idea, I mean, it's good thinking, this, as you say, especially with the little Calumet River opening up to more users. And we can't forget that we have mutual assistance agreements with other, police departments and they have ponds too.
Right.
Those other towns, so.
We forget sometimes that the north side of our town is actually Lake Michigan with the mill there, but. There is the point where we're responding to that lake frequently. Most of the time of national Park Service area, but yeah. We're there.
Well, which do you want? I mean, do you want are you looking at the more expensive vest or the?
If the money is available, I'd like to do the nicer stuff. I think this is a singular one-time purchase. I don't think this is something that is these items aren't gonna perish or go bad frequently. So I don't see it as being an issue. I mean, I think, like us in the car, I think we're looking 10+ years of use out of them. We're not looking at, hey, I'm gonna be here in 24 months asking for more money for this same purpose. So
We'll
I
find
think
something else.
buying the right thing one time, I think is the answer. I mean, that's how I like to approach it, but
Yeah.
I also understand that everybody's operating under constraints, so.
Okay, one other maybe stupid question. Does it come with a warranty of any sorts?
I mean, there's manufacturer warranty with all
Okay,
items, so like
okay.
the rope and stuff like that,
Okay.
yeah.
You can't do anything, you just sit there and.
My hands are in cuffs.
That's it.
You can reuse it again, like.
Yeah, so it's retractable, it's not a one-time use thing.
Okay.
We looked at it, like there was one that was like $10 cheaper, but only had 75 foot of reach, this one's 100 foot of reach. And it was just, they had weight too, I think, is gonna assist with actually deploying it
Mhm.
that bigger distance. Which, yeah, I hate to have it and be like.
Right.
If we only had the
Some
1.5 feet, 77 feet away, right? Yeah, that's exactly where it's gonna be.
I'll make the motion to go with what I have deemed as option one, which is the total of 1759 and 84 cents.
I second it.
Any further discussion? Roll call, please.
Commissioner Tobin,
Oh, gosh, darn it. I'm so sorry.
Commissioner Loving,
Yes.
Commissioner McCarr,
Our exact words.
All I heard was yes.
Yeah.
I heard a lot more words. Did you call me?
not yet, Commissioner McCarr,
Everything.
Commissioner Ensland,
Yes,
Commissioner Bozak.
Yes.
I have to say, at the park, I don't, normally vote. So I'm not used to that. Because I'm the president, so I don't vote, so I'm not used to that.
But you're not voted as the president.
You president. We don't. Not at the park.
Then how does,
If you're on the park board,
you have to vote.
you vote.
You have to vote.
I do not.
All board members need to vote or have a reason to abstain. Otherwise, how does park business get done? Well, that's all.
Oh, yeah. I'm so sorry. Yeah, I did.
Okay, that's what you want for elements.
Yeah, it's called comic relief.
I love entertainment. Thank you so much. All right. Approval of claims register.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion? Roll call, please.
Commissioner Loving,
Yes.
Commissioner McCarr,
Yes.
Commissioner Ensland,
yes,
Commissioner Tobin,
Yes.
Commissioner Bozak.
Yes. Approval of financial report for the month of July 2023.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion? Roll call, please.
Commissioner McCarr,
Yes.
Commissioner Loving,
Yes.
Commissioner Ensland,
yes,
Commissioner Tobin,
Yes.
Commissioner Bozak.
Yes. Good of the order.
I have a couple of things I wanted to remind the board about. House and Rule Act 1454 is going to require this board
for 2024's budget to also have an annual spending plan. And that the law will say, or does say, that you cannot deviate from that plan. So my hope is, so I registered to go to the AIM Summit that's later this month. My hope is that people who works with the legislators and the attorneys for AIM have some idea or guidance for all of us to prepare a budget and a plan that allows you guys some flexibility to do things that pop up, because the law isn't, as I'm interpreting it, is you're gonna set your plan now, you're gonna set your budget now, and you can't do anything different. I hope I'm wrong, but I'm hoping that AIM Summit people and the attorneys will help with that guidance. That same law that goes into effect next year also requires the president of this board and the vice president of this board to be appointed by different appointing authorities. So currently, you guys vote on your own president and vice president. This law says that you cannot. So there's going to have to be some type of decision made. Maybe the redevelopment commission picks their own president and the council picks the VP. I don't know, but that is a new law as well.
Can you say that?
It's a law in Indianapolis.
Starting it out right now.
I will send you what I have.
Because some of these members are appointed by the council and some are appointed by the council president.
But the members can be appointed as they do now by state statute. But when they, at the beginning of the year, say, I make a motion, so-and-so is gonna be president, and I make a motion, so-and-so is gonna be vice president, my understanding is they only appoint one and some other authority appoints the other. So they gave an example, in a city, the mayor would appoint, say, the president, and the council would then appoint the VP for this particular board.
Okay.
So I'm guessing as a town, then it would be this board gets to appoint, and then, but I will definitely send you all that stuff, and maybe we'll have more information on that, what is actually written in the code.
Yeah.
Right, because I'm still looking at the house enrollment.
I don't know whether to call this either Byzantine or Soviet, you know, I mean,
It's incompetent.
you must not deviate, comrade, from your plan scheme, you know.
Right, right, and that's why, you know, you guys, your guys' plans changed, right? Often, and so I'm hopeful that we'll get a lot better guidance. And my biggest concern is, because it's budget time now, that we need the guidance now. And I don't know if we can wait and get somebody's interpretation later this fall, or even beginning of next year. By now, your budget's already said and sent, and what is this so-called plan need to look like and all of that. So I'm hopeful, and I'll see what I can find out.
What happens if we, let's say, over budget on everything? And then, of course, the bids come in lower than what our budget is.
Right,
Are we then forced to spend?
Brad,
You know,
I'm reading the snippets of what the law now said, and that's as much information as I currently have. And like I said, in a couple of weeks, they're having an AIM summit, and AIM talks, you know, AIM deals with the legislation, and they tried to get this bill altered or thrown out completely, and
Oh,
that's what it happened.
this is Indianapolis. so
Right.
We don't do that.
Right,
We,
So-
yeah, okay, they're, let's see, you know, it's not-
I'll get whatever information I can and pass it along, knowing that it's budget season. And the budget season, the budget needs to match plan and vice versa, so we're gonna have to, I'll see what I can find out, and I'll get it to you guys as quick as I know something, and I'll send this piece of language to Clay, so he can kind of, maybe he has, with being an attorney, has attorney people that have already started talking about it, and can get some guidance that way too. So we'll do the best we can and I'll share what I find out.
Because,
Thank you.
I mean, I can see everybody, you know, over budgeting
Right,
stuff so that they have something for
right.
emergencies
Right.
and for fuel
Well, and that's the thing,
circumstances.
is the over budgeting, and your example was, well, what if it comes under budget? I would, to me, it would make sense that you'd be allowed to take the lesser bid, and not what I think is different is. You guys decided, say, we're gonna run Marquette Trail this way, and then instead you say, well, instead of that, doing that project, we're gonna, you know, do this project. And they say, oh, no, that went on your plan.
Yeah, because you never. No,
Right,
it just seems
right.
like, who's making these rules? Do they do the work? Like, do they have any idea?
They have any
what
idea.
happens? Because no, because it's not that we would decide not to turn this way, it would because somebody else decided that we can't turn this way
Right.
anymore.
These are the finest politicians that.
I will start whatever I find out, as soon as I find it out, and maybe Clay has other organizations and things he's associated with it, he can try and get more information too. But there are certainly important things you guys need to be aware of in preparation for.
It's such a funny moment.
Sorry.
You scream. You can say it.
Going back to old business, I just want to clarify. Phase 1A contracting, just the update there is that we do have the notice to proceed as the next step with this. NDOT will send the notice to proceed to area of construction that was awarded the project, and the town will send the notice to proceed to March, so we can begin that project. And again, we have that back constraint, so that phase 1A likely will not move forward until that October timeframe, so. Just to clarify that.
Thank you. I like to make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
Discussion?
Commissioner Twiblen,
Yes.
Commissioner Loving,
Yes.
Commissioner Ensland,
Yes.
Commissioner McCarr,
Yes.
Commissioner Bozak.
Yes.